Welcome to this tutorial on creating a simple addition program in Python. Python is an excellent language for beginners due to its clear and readable syntax. It requires less punctuation than other languages, has a comprehensive standard library, and is supported by a large community of developers. Today, we'll walk through a basic program that takes two numbers as input from the user, adds them together, and displays the result. This exercise will cover essential concepts like user input, data type conversion, and formatted output, which are fundamental to more complex programming tasks. We'll be using the input function to get numbers from the user. This function displays a prompt and waits for the user to type something. Here's how it looks when running in the Python IDL environment. The program asks for input and waits for the user to respond. When we get input from the user, it comes in as a string or text. But to perform addition, we need numbers, not text. That's where the float function comes in. It converts text to a decimal number that we can use in calculations. For whole numbers only, we could use int instead. For example, the string 5 gets converted to the number 5.0 using float. Now we can perform arithmetic operations on it. Once we have our numbers, we can perform addition using the plus operator. Let's say num1 is 3.5 and num2 is 4.2. We add them together with a simple expression, num1 plus num2. This gives us our result of 7.7, which we store in a variable called sumResult. To display our result in a user-friendly way, we'll use f-strings, which are a modern and convenient way to format strings in Python. F-strings start with the letter F before the quotation mark and allow us to embed variables directly inside curly braces. For example, we can write print f quote. The sum of curly brace num1 curly brace and curly brace num2 curly brace is curly brace sumResult curly brace end quote, which outputs a nice readable message with our values inserted. Let's summarize the key concepts we've covered. We use input to get user input, float to convert strings to numbers, the plus operator for addition, and f-strings for formatted output. Here's how our complete addition program will look. In the next section, we'll build this program step by step and see it in action. In this section, we'll code a Python program that adds two numbers step by step. We'll break this down into four main steps. First, we'll get user input. Second, we'll convert the input to numbers. Third, we'll add the numbers. And finally, we'll display the result. Step 1 is to get the two numbers from the user. For this, we use the input function. The input function prompts the user to enter a value and returns what they type as a string. Since we want to perform mathematical operations, we need to convert this string to a number. We use the float function to handle decimal numbers. In step 2, we convert the input strings to floating point numbers. The float function can handle any numerical input, including integers and decimals. For example, the string quote 3.14 quote becomes the floating point number 3.14. Step 3 is the actual addition operation. We use the plus operator to add the two floating point numbers together. Let's visualize this with an example. If num1 is 5.7 and num2 is 3.2. When we add them together, we get the sum of 8.9. This operation follows a simple flowchart. Input two numbers, add them together, and output the result. In step 4, we display the result to the user. We use Python's f-string feature for formatted output. F-strings allow us to embed variable values directly into a string by placing them in curly braces. When we run this code, it will display a message like, the sum of 5.7 and 3.2 is 8.9. Let's see the complete addition program. This shows all the steps we've covered working together. The program uses Python's console input and output features, first collecting the numbers, performing the calculation, and then showing the result. When we run this program, it prompts the user for two numbers. In this example, we enter 7.5 and 4.25, and the program calculates and displays their sum as 11.75. Congratulations! You've successfully created a complete Python program that adds two numbers. You've learned how to get user input, convert strings to numbers, perform addition, and display formatted output.